Hey y'all, welcome back. The beautiful next and walking through kind of this process of seeing the next phases, the next seasons that the Lord brings us to. I'm walking into another next in my life. My family is. Right as you're watching this, my kids are counting down the days to the end of this school year. Summer break, ready to go, and there's a very specific life-changing thing that I cannot believe we're about to start doing. This summer, I start to teach my son how to drive. Please pray for me. I need it, please. But I'm going to teach him how to drive, and there's an experience that he's probably not going to have a story I want to share with you that I had that his generation just doesn't have to deal with. Because when I started driving, there were no cell phones. There was no GPS. We had a cell phone, but there was no GPS on it. There was no screens you could use. It was all Rand McNally Atlas Maps or MapQuest. That was it. And after I graduated high school, me and a couple of friends went on a road trip up into the mountains of Georgia to spend the week just kind of hanging out, a guy's trip. And as we're getting up there, it's time for dinner, so we pull off to the road and kind of work our way back to a restaurant. We have dinner. It's all fun. It's a guy's trip, so of course, when we finish dinner, we got to leave somebody behind. We're joking, we're laughing, we're having a blast, and we trade drivers. Now I'm up. I'm the last leg to get us from the restaurant to the cabin that we're staying in. So we hop in the car, we start driving. In a couple of miles, I got to take a right on Route 10, and then it's like we're home free from there. So I'm driving, we're in Georgia, trying to get to the cabin in North Georgia. Couple miles goes by, and at this point, I'm not paying attention to where we're going anymore. I'm hanging out. To this day, people will say I'm not a great driver. I don't agree with them. They might have something right there, but I'm not paying attention. Up until I start seeing signs for we're entering North Carolina. The cabin was in Georgia, and we started in Georgia. We missed the turn. We didn't even take a wrong turn, missed the turn, had to pull over, get the map out, figure out how do we get back. We're off track. How do we get back to where we need to be? In our lives, this beautiful next, it's easy to get off track. How do we get back to where we're supposed to be? I had a vision from God. I thought I knew where I was going. I thought I knew what I wanted, but something spun out, right? Some of those control pieces that Pastor Jamie talked about last week. I screwed up. I lost it. I blew it. I'm off track. How do I get back to where I'm supposed to be? Let me give you step one right off the bat. You stop going the wrong direction, right? We had to pull over, go to the gas station, get the map and say, all right, where do we go now? And you turn around and you come back the way that you needed to go. And getting back on track is such a huge piece in this, that when we miss the mark, that we have a way back. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, there's all kinds of shame and just internal fears in kind of admitting, all right, I've missed the mark. I've failed, I've blown it, I've done it wrong. Even just in telling that story about missing my turn, I want so badly to blame the other guys and throw out. I could make myself look good. That's what I know how to do. I want to do that, but it was on me. And so I have to figure out how to turn. In Jeremiah 24, right before God gives this word about, I know the thoughts I have of you, where we've been in 29. In 24, he gives Jeremiah a picture of two pieces of fruit. And in verse 3, he asks him what he sees, and then in verse 4, God responds, the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah. This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. These good figs that you saw, I regard as good, the exiles from Judah. Jeremiah sees two baskets full of fruit. One of them are good figs, and one of them are bad. And there's rotten fruit it's just covered in nastiness. It's just, it's nasty. And then there's this good fruit that Jeremiah sees. It's ripe. It's ready to be eaten. It's perfect for the taking. And God says, Jeremiah, this is what I see. He says, the people that I've sent away, the exiles in Judah, they are the good fruits. Now, this is just absolutely mind-blowing to me. That God looks at the exiles, the people who are being brought away because of their sins, and he says, Jeremiah, you know what I see when I see them? They are good, ripe fruit. They've failed, they've blown it, but that's the way that God sees them. And he says, I see something better for them. In that moment where I missed the turn, or we've talked throughout this series about just different moments between Pastor Jamie, Pastor Kim, and myself, and moments where last week he talked about a good conversation out at their house where we talked about the transition and all right, well, let's do this. Let's walk out this beautiful next. But I can go back to conversations before where I'd been out there where the call was, hey, buddy, I need you to come out here. And I go out and it's not a good conversation. Like I shared in the last story, like my pride has gotten in the way. I've sabotaged something. I've fought too hard against something that they know in their leadership and vision that we need to do. And so we have this conversation out there, and they help open my eyes to blind spots, and I have to do this drive back. Why do y'all live so far away? I'm from Pine Island all the way back to my house right by the church. I'm half an hour, 45 minutes, I've got to drive back. And let me tell you, when you fail, right, when those lights are turned on and you see I've gone the wrong way, my view of myself is never that I'm a good fruit in that moment. I'm driving back over the bridges and through that long stretch of little big Pine Island, whatever it is, before the four-way to get to your place. And it's just all of those moments of failure. The pains of like, I thought we'd do better by now. Got off track. And I know inside I'm broken, rotten fruit. But the Lord starts to speak life back in and say, that's not how I see you. Jeremiah 24 says, here's 2 baskets of fruit. Here's the 2 baskets. Here's where they're at. He says, the exiles are the good fruit. I sent them away. There's penalties, for failing, for going off. But look at verse 6. My eyes will watch over them for their good. I will bring them back to this land. I will build them up and not tear them down. I will plant them and not uproot them. I will give them a heart to know me. When you get off track, when you take the wrong turn, when you miss the turn, when your sin creeps in, when it takes over, when you feel like I have done everything possible to blow up the beautiful next, God looks at you and says, there's still some good fruit in there. There's still some hope in there. And I can't tell you how many times he's looked at my life where I'm certain it's all rotten at this point. I've done everything I could to squish the bad fruit to be nasty. And God says, no, I think I can salvage this. I can bring about some new fruit, some new hope. And it's that life that he gives back to you. That when we make a wrong turn, he brings us back around to him. He has a way of drawing straight lines with our crooked lives. He has a way of bringing healthy, whole fruit out of our brokenness, but only if we do what verse 7 says. I will give them a heart to know me, to know that I am the Lord. They will be my people, and I will be their God, for they will return to me with all of their heart. And you're going the wrong way. I've missed the turn. I've blown the course to the beautiful next was over here, and I'm going this way. To get back means I've got to stop and turn around. I've got to return back to him. That's so humbling to have to do. But what you have to know in that moment is that God is waiting right there because he sees better for your future than you ever could. He believes more for what could be than you could ever see on your own. With God, the Father, it's always about relationship. That he woos us back in to him. And you could say it this way: how do you think in these moments as he's talking to Jeremiah? He's calling the exiles who are sent to a different country because of the sin that they have lived out. How do you think he's viewing Israel? Do you hear spiteful, angry words as God talks about them? No, it's all hope. It's all this biblical call to say, I see what my people are going to do. They're going to turn back to me, and because of that, they are good fruits. And maybe you don't feel that way right now. Maybe you see all of the failures, and you know all of the pains. And you have to hear the voice of the Lord say, I can get you back on track. It starts by returning to me. You can't keep going in your own direction when we get into these spots. Now, God is gracious to call us back. He smiles over us and says, I have the right way to go. I've got the map. I've got the directions. I've got the way. This is how we walk. And as we follow after him, we get to become the good fruit. He believes better for you and for your future than you ever could. Because he knows that the best way into the beautiful next, the only way into the beautiful next, is that you become dependent on him. Verse 7's language, fully surrendered to him. Return to him with all of your hearts. And in so doing, become that good fruit. One more verse to read to you that shows his heart again. In Jeremiah 31, just a few chapters later, he's given this promise. I know the thoughts I have, and all of these future pieces. And he says, is not, Jeremiah 31, verse 20, is not, is not Israel my dear son, the child in whom I delight? Though I often speak against him, I still remember him. All right, we go wrong. There is consequences to our sin. You go off on the wrong path. You have to drive back. You have to pay the price. So he speaks against them. They're in exile for this, but that's not the end of their story. He says, though I often speak against him, I still remember him. Therefore, my heart yearns for him. I have great compassion for him. This is your God. This is my God. This is how he looks at me in those moments where I'm at my lowest and I could literally sink down and hide out of shame, of fear of having messed up and blown it and failed. And he says, no. Now you're in the right spot to walk into the beautiful next, because now I'm not going in my own strength. I'm not going in my own wisdom. I'm dependent on him. And that means I'm back in relationship, right relationship with him. You need to get back on track, back on course. It starts with getting back in right relationship with him. Often that takes some other people around you. You're in your small group right now. They might need to speak some life into you. They might need to help you see the future that God has for you, but they can only do that to the extent that you can be honest and aware of how you've gone off track, that you can humbly receive from them. Listen and hear them speak into you and let them call out what they need to, but to have some space in this group. Say, hey, here's where you're at. Here's what needs to change. And I say that because I've sat in these circles with some of our pastors who are around the outside of these cameras right now and allowed them to speak into my life. And that's the only way that I've gotten to walk into the beautiful next. And it's how we get into that beautiful next. And then we get to see that God yearns for that relationship with us. He says, my heart yearns for you. Can you believe that today? Can you believe that for your life? Can you believe that when you're at the bottom, when you've failed again, when your pride has driven you off the map, when your anger has caused you to respond in a way that you never thought you would, when your addictions have run out of control and just ruined everything for the next season, that God would look at you and say, no. I still yearn to be in relationship with you. I still have great compassion for you. I still see a better future than you could see for yourself. Because if it's just on me to create the beautiful next, if it's just my own things, then it's not going to be that beautiful. But if I'm seeing God in the middle of it, if I'm allowing Him to turn me into that good fruit, then I can stand in knowing that the best is yet to come. Because it's not on me. It's not me creating that future. It's not me trying to strive to do it. It's the relationship with God, and I'm walking it out with Him. I'm allowing Him to be the GPS that gives me the guidance. And better than that, I'm allowing Him to be the driver who leads and drives. And now I get to sit and be in the passenger seat and enjoy it, right? Pastor Jamie talked about that a little bit last week. Your anxiety levels, you get to know that by who's in control. That is, when I'm trying to strive to do it, I can tell because my anxiety starts going up and up and up. And instead, God says, no, give that back to me. Let me lead here. Let me lead you. Let me care for you. I see better for you. Let's do this together again. It's a common refrain for me to not try to do it in my own strength, but instead to say, all right, God, I've failed. I've gotten off track. I've done this wrong. Let me give it back to you so that I can walk at pace with you, so that I can walk in your ways, so that I can go in your direction. And the greatest thing to know in that is that that's what He wants out of you. You've blown it. You've gotten off track. You've missed the mark. He's waiting for you to turn around. I'll give you one last picture before we close in prayer, that in that same kind of analogy of walking or driving in the wrong direction, of going away from the beautiful next, that in those moments where I've done that every step I've taken in the wrong direction, when I've turned around finally, or when others around me have helped me turn around, you know who's been right there waiting for me every time? It's been the Lord. He's been one step behind me. He keeps, even no matter how far you walk away from Him, you're still only one step separated from Him. He yearns to be with you. He has compassion for you. He sees the best for your future, and He's committed to helping you walk into the beautiful next. So if you've gotten off track, turn around, surrender back to Him, and you'll be amazed at how quickly He'll welcome you back in. He loves you. He waits for you. He yearns for you, and He has compassion on you. Let me pray for you. Lord, I thank You for each in this group, and I just pray for Your blessing on them. Father, that You would care for them in these moments of tenderness, of Your Holy Spirit being at work in these groups. Father, that they would feel and know Your love and compassion, that You build new hearts, that your hope is to raise us up, to plant us anew, and to give us a new heart that's closer and closer with You. Lord, let this discussion and ministry time just be full of intimacy with You and hope in the beautiful next that you have for each of these groups. It's in your name, Jesus, that we pray. Amen.